So welcome everybody. Today, Max and Dom will be covering Polarion tips and tricks, cross-project linkages, and relationships in SAFe. Just to let you guys know that this is a little bit different than our normal tips and tricks. This is going to be covering normal things you can do with Polarion just out of the box, and most of this functionality is out of the box once you get this SAFe template. And this SAFe template is a purchasable item. It is on our extensions page. You can get a trial of it through the extensions page at the end of this call if you want to go there. And if you need any guidance or help with that, feel free to reach out to the representative who sent you your email. The other housekeeping is I want to welcome any newcomers. Also, this is our 6th tips and tricks. We're planning on for sure going to the end of May. We'll welcome any suggestions anybody has for additions. We do have the next 3 topics covered, but if we go into June, we'll be glad to take any suggestions. So feel free to give those to us in the chat menu or send us an email.
So we're covering today cross-project linking and relationships, and I guess we don't have enough time because of the audio issues, but I'm still going to go through the agenda. So we're going to look at the basics of linking. So how do we link something in Polarion? And it's similar across project as it is within a project. And then we actually look what happens as soon as you do that. So what kind of advantages do you get? You get some upstream and downstream data collection and all the reporting. And we're probably going to skip the outcome of how you can connect to different servers within different companies with Polarion. And go straight into the Q&A of that. But let's start off with our example. Gary already mentioned that we have a SAFe template that is an ideal example of how those cross-linking relationships work. It includes 7 different projects that all work together for one singular goal. And SAFe, for those that don't know it, is the scaled Agile Framework. And that includes a lot of different pieces. We could talk about this picture for half a week, but since we only have half an hour, I'm just going to give you the highlights with what we'll start. And that is that if you look at those 3 levels, you have the portfolio level, you have the large solution level, and you have the essential level. And they all work together in a way that enables them to get the results not only from a team that only has like 8 or 10 developers, because that's your usual Scrum team, but also something that has 100, 200, 300 developers or even more working together on large-scale portfolio projects. And that's how it looks. So you have on a portfolio level your epics, and they're usually not that detailed. They're just saying, okay, really high-level overview, we want to do something. And then you decompose those into capabilities, into features, and then the actual user stories that arrive at the team level, and then even the tasks that come out of those user stories. So that's the background. This template that we're going to look at today is already SAFe version 5.0. Siemens is a scaled agile partner, and we've just updated that. So that's actually the most current version from a month ago that shows that has every new functionality that came with SAFe 5.0. Now, if you look over here, we see our projects are part of the template. And this is just an example. In the real world, you would have maybe even tens or hundreds of different teams, a couple dozen programs, and maybe even several portfolios. But what we have here is 1 portfolio Polarion project, 2 programs, the connectors and the core products, which are separate Polarion projects as well, and 4 teams, alpha, beta, integrations, and omega. So they're all, so we have in total 7 different Polarion projects that enable us to work on those large-scale efforts together. And let's start off with the dashboard. In the dashboard, we have our Kanban board with the current portfolio actions that are in progress. And I'm just going to take the example of this delivering of a PLM, ALM solution for multi-domain collaboration. As you can see just by the name, it is really undefined. You don't even have product names. And then when we go one level down into the capability, we see that it's already a bit more defined. Integration of Polarion ALM with Team Center. So that's the capability that we want to have. And we could go one level down into the features, and that's already in a program. We've already skipped into a different project. So we have here already that interconnection of cross-linking, and we're in the program connectors world. We could go down to the user stories and to the tasks and see them that they're actually assigned to different teams. So that's the whole way of how we can how you have that whole structure of going down in different projects. And I'm just gonna go up one more, and you can connect between projects like you would do it in basic Polarion. So you have that create link button, and you would connect it like you would do that within a project as well. There's nothing special. As long as you have the right projects, you can do that, and it works as designed. But what is the more interesting one is that you can also create directly in different projects from the work item that you have. So in this case, we have here this plus button for the create link role, and we have two different options, the features to roles in the one program, project program core products, and then the other program connectors. And we can just go in and create those right away. I know that some of the folks on those tips and tricks calls are a bit more advanced. So let's go into the administrations, and I want to show you just real quickly how you would define. And it's really the item and the type that you want to set in that linking work item is the same. The really interesting attribute is just the project, because you define with the project what kind of project you want to link to. So that's the linking work item, and you can just create a feature directly in that next project without even leaving your current project, as long as you have the rules and rights to do that. Now, let's go into the backlog and see what that gives us, those connection of connecting between projects. And there's two interesting views that we can look at. The one is that tree view. For those that don't know it, you can access the tree view over here from the table view. This is the table view, this is the tree view, and you can cross the boundaries in here. But you can also say how many levels you wanna open that tree, because it really shows everything that's happening below that level. We have here our portfolio epic, and you don't even see that it crosses project boundaries. Polarion just shows you how it's all interconnected across the whole server, in this case across the whole SAFe methodology and that whole SAFe template. Another way to look at that is actually that impact tree. So this is a widget, and you will get that widget with the recording, as you can use that for to look at the whole tree from a particular item and how it all connects. So we have here our epic, it's connected to capabilities, the features, and then the user stories, the tests that, and the tasks, and you can just zoom out and look at all the different ways it connects. So we have here several capabilities, and then the singular features. You can zoom in, zoom out, and basically use that to take a look at what you're doing. Now, the result of all of this is that it not only shows you the traceability across all of the different projects like you need, but you can also collect data that comes from those different sources. I mentioned earlier that this epic itself is pretty big, and that we just estimated at the moment at 400 story points. So we have an initial story point estimate of 400 story points, And then we collect the actual work data that goes on underneath it. So from all the capabilities, all the features, all the user stories that are underneath this portfolio app, we can use the calculated fields in Polarion to sum up everything that's happening beneath it. And it doesn't matter if it crosses project boundaries or not. And at the end, what we currently have are 252 story points. I can't change that value because it's just a sum of all the calculation of all the story points that have been actually worked on underneath. And what we have here is also the time spent. So in the SAFe framework, when you go down to the lowest level, underneath the user stories, at the tasks and defect level, you actually have your hours not in story points, but in actual work hours or work days. And we see that we've spent 16 days on this portfolio epic on the lowest level, creating content, making it all work. So that's a great example of how we can do that, and we can visualize that as well. If we go back to our dashboard, we can see that the card that we started off has the actual story points of 252 already embedded and visible. By the way, this is one of our different Kanban boards that you can see throughout the project as well as throughout the different templates. If we go one down in the capabilities, we see already a bit different because it has that red shading of dependencies. Those two work items depend on each other and block each other. And you can see that you can actually you can't and shouldn't put this into the next status as it depends on some other work. Now, if we go a bit into the planning, and I'm going to shift gears a little bit because we're really going in different directions, as I want to show you all of the different cross-project capabilities in the template and what you can also do with Polarion. Let's go into one of those release reports. We have here a release, and in the SAFe framework, it is called solution release. It has underneath it different system releases there on the program level, as well as the features that are over there, solution increments. So it really captures everything that you need from the releases way back down in the program and team levels. A different kind of release report, and we're now here in the program level with the core products. It actually still includes system increments that are lower. It includes completed features, but I want to show you the definition of done. And you might know this definition of done from our other templates, that the V-model template or the Agile template that comes out of the box of Polarion already has a version of this definition of done. But this is a cross-project boundaries definition of done. And it not only goes down, but also up. Because those non-functional requirements are actually on the portfolio level. So even if we are on the program level, hierarchically one level down, we can still see everything that's happening on the portfolio level, and we can grab the data that we need from there through our reports. What we can also do is everything that's connected to this release, we can take that into this report. So we have here those defects that are connected to that release, and they're also crossing project boundaries. This defect is actually created directly in a project of the team. So this is in team alpha mode. And the other defect that is connected to this release was created in that program level on the program core products. So it's all really interconnected, and you can use that in your live reports directly. Now, if we go back to our portfolio level and one level down, so we're now in the backlog. Actually, let's do 2 levels down to the development. Each space in the template strategy backlog planning has also a process section where you have a wide variety of reports that we can look at. And one of them is the team overview that shows you those teams weigh down what they're working on. So Team Alpha, for example, is working on one feature currently, and 4 of them are done. And we can see actually every bit of interesting data from here. So and not only do we see the story points they're working on, to do 16 story points in progress 33, completed are 8, different shadings of green and gray. We can also see with the red dot the initial estimate. So if you look at that, the specified the test cases, 70 story points was the initial estimate, and the actual work on that was 77 story points. So we estimated a bit less than actually went into the work. And we can take a look at that for each of the teams: beta, integrations, and even omega. So all of the teams are in here, and we can have an overview a few levels up in the portfolio over everything that's happening in this whole world. Now let's go back to our home. I want to show you one more feature. So I mentioned earlier that in the SAFe template, everything builds on each other. So what you do in the strategy creates the input for the backlog, which in turn creates everything for the planning section of that. And that actually stretches across projects as well. So if we go into the programs connector one and click on the backlog, we can see that the input for the program backlogs comes back up from the portfolio project with all of its capabilities and epics, and it generates the output of the feature backlog for the program. So it's all interconnected with each other. And one of the ways this actually creates value is that you can also connect it for documents. We're back in our portfolio epic. We have and in the portfolio epic, we actually have a live doc attached to each of the epics. As usually, the epic doesn't have enough information to actually convey what you want to, why you need that epic. Remember, epics are really large, and you should be sure that you want to start work on them. So you need to estimate your investments, your businesses, everything that that should be in scope, out of scope, everything that you need for delivering that epic. And now, going down into the business section, we can actually add a document as well. So we can take a document from a completely different project. In this case, I'm using a business specification template that is actually part of the medical device. So we can even do it cross template boundaries and cross project. And I'm just going to copy over the link and put it in here as a paste. And I have here the link with the business specification template. So Polarion takes the link of the relationship right in, even if it's from a completely different project on the server. And part of that is also that you could do the reuse and the branch of the documents cross-project as well. This is probably another topic for at least half an hour, if not half a day, to talk about that, including the variant management. So if you want to do variant management cross-project, that's also something that you can do. One more thing, in the solution increment, you can do this. Whole creation of items cross project also for workflows. We did something like this here in the solution increment. Whenever you give a start and due date for a solution increment, you can start a workflow and build the whole planning structure for the plans inside of Polarion across project boundaries. The result of that is actually here in the comments, and we can see that it creates program increments in both the programs based on the solution increment, as well as team program increments in the various teams. And let's actually go down to the team level. I don't think we've visited that yet. And let's go into one of the plans. So we have here a plan, and that plan, this team program increment, has iterations, so the team can work on the different iterations for this team program increment, but it's also connected to the program increment above it in the program, hierarchically in the program. And that's actually a little script that takes the information and puts it in there. So it enables you to have those cross-project boundaries even in the plans. And with that, I think we can go into the Q&A, mainly because we started a bit late. Were there any questions, Gary?
Thanks, Max. And just to let you know, Bob has graciously agreed to stay on a little longer because I know you have a hard stop at 1 if the questions go long, because I know you got started a bit late with the audio issues. So at this point, there are no questions on the chat. If anybody has a question, feel free to unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask, and Maxim and/or Bob will be glad to cover them. Okay, well. We're still not getting any on the chat, Max, so I think you probably did well. You went through this a little quickly, I know, since I know you were trying to make sure. Oh, we got a question coming in. Where can we get a look at the impact tree widget? Is that on our extension site, guys, or is that something you guys have?
Well, that's an extension that we were going to send out with the recording of the webinar.
Okay, so you guys have that ready to package up?
Yeah, we have that ready to package up. We'll send it out with the webinar because we knew that this would be interesting. So that's you're going to get that with the recording.
Perfect. Well, so when we send out the replay on Wednesday is our typical time, as long as there's no issues, and you'll have that widget with the replay. Any other questions? We've got a minute left to the end of time. So we'll be glad to take any till then, and otherwise, okay. Well,
I'm sorry. I can't type. I can't type fast enough.
Okay.
I may have missed it, but did you show sprints for the teams? I mean, because that's a standard of.
Yeah. I didn't actually show them. I just showed them real quickly without actually going in. Yeah, the sprints are in here. In the SAFe framework, they're actually called iterations, but it's the same thing, and they're in here. So if we
that's not a sprint. That's 6 months there.
Yeah. But if you click down, so this is connected to a sprint, and those are 2-week intervals. So this should be, as you can see, iteration 33 is from 5:15 to 5:31. So you see those are the actual sprints. It's also not that many story points that they need to work on. 47. You have a burn down chart. We actually have here a small Scrum board. So yeah, those are the sprints. They're really on the team level. So it's really the teams that work on the sprints, as everything else happens in larger time frames.
Okay, that's what I was missing. Thank you.
Very glad to answer that.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. I did just get one more quick question. Is there a way to link a work item to a live doc?
Yes, that is exactly what happens in here in the Epic. So if you remember, we had a lightweight business case, and that one is actually linked to a document. That's exactly what you can do. You just add a custom field, you put in an enumeration for a document, and then you can link it directly. So that's exactly what happens on the epics. Every epic, well, not every epic, but 90% of the epics actually have a live document with further details about the epic and the link inside of it.
Okay, perfect. Well, if there's any other questions, feel free to email them to your representative, and we'll definitely get them answered. Maxim, thank you.